So this is Louis. I'll have to apologize for my voice up front. For whatever reason, I sound a bit off and especially nasally or whatever. Not really sure why that is. It's early in the morning a bit, and I'm currently on the job. But we're gonna cover some shit anyways. So this should be. I think it's either the third or fourth video in this series for Delusions of Grandeur for girls. And today we're going to be covering, first we're going to start out with an organization called Girls Leadership, which was co-founded, at least in part, by Rachel Simmons, who I've covered before on this channel. I forget which video it was, but I've covered her before. She's an ideologue. And but before we get into this a little bit more, I just want to speak to the fact that I'm not necessarily against the notion of kids, or specifically girls, which is, unfortunately that's what I have to speak to because this is a gendered organization. I'm not against the notion of little kids wanting to be in positions of leadership or take on leadership roles necessarily. My issue with this, and what it continues to be in this series, is the fact that you have ideologues and entire organizations dedicated to pushing the idea of little kids wanting to take on administrative roles or take on responsibility that most people don't want. I'd have to look it up, but I believe there was a poll that I included in one of my previous videos on this where it was... it outright said that little kids, and even adults, don't want to be in leadership positions because they are aware of the fact, they're cognizant of the fact that it comes with a tremendous amount of responsibility and paperwork and work in general, which is true. That's something that I consider to be true as well, because I've been in those roles before. I can recall back to when I was a legislator at my college. I was in the student senate, and that was an elected position. That was a position of leadership within at least organizing and overseeing all the clubs and all the different groups and other things as well, different aspects to the college itself. And it was a multi-million-dollar organization that I was elected to, appointed essentially, but that was a pretty decent responsibility to give to someone where I didn't receive any pay. I did it for free, as they say. It came with a tremendous amount of weight in terms of having to incessantly pressure the different groups to get their shit together, to submit their paperwork. It was a very bureaucratic job. It came with a tremendous amount of responsibility. And, it was completely unappreciated by the students at that college. And, I'm not begrudging them for not caring, but it was an unpaid, unappreciated position. And for the most part, when it comes to politics, when it comes to administration, those are roles that are not necessarily going to pay well until you get to mid-management and up, for at least the private sector. And in the public sector, not until you get to fucking Congress, or if you get to the Senate, is that job going to even pay well? County executive, town clerk, mayor, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's executive or legislative. If you're in the public sector, you are going to be completely unappreciated, and you're going to be doing a lot of fucking work, unless you appoint a bunch of people that are just lackeys and know-nothings, which can happen in different cabinets, especially for executive positions, which it only adds work onto you to campaign that much harder because you're incompetent. But for the most part, these roles have downsides. That's my main point here. And, I'm a political junkie. I'm a wonk to some extent. I graduated with a degree in the field. I have no problem with you telling little girls to care about elected office or care about being in leadership positions. But to paraphrase something my father used to say, it's that you can only have so many white hats on a work site. before nothing happens. There has to be people lower on the totem pole to actually do the fucking work. Only one person is going to be the CEO. Only a handful of people are going to be in the board of directors. Only that much more, a handful more, are going to be in upper management. You're only going to have so many fucking people in positions of power, influence, and wealth. There's only going to be so many people in those positions. There's only one president of the United States. There's only so many fucking senators. There's only so many congressmen. Although, what is it, 400 something? I can't even remember. There's only so many people in positions of power, and even then, like, how much do people actually give a shit about someone like, what's her name, Catherine Clark, that anti-Gamergate, censor-happy, fascist cunt from, I think she's from Massachusetts. She represents some fucking nowhere district, I think. But, like, what influence does she really have outside of, like, feminists online? Like, how much do people in her district really give a shit about her? Like, how much power does she actually have? Not much. And so you have to understand that. You have to fucking acknowledge that fact when you're talking about these things. If you glamorize and you obscure the downsides and the responsibility that comes with these positions, no little girl is going to want to be in these positions once they find out the truth of the matter. If you lie about this all the way until they're a fucking adult, they're ultimately, one, going to resent you, and two, they're not going to want to do it because they're going to be fucking jaded. They're going to be disillusioned with the position itself. If you're fucking honest up front, then they'll know what they're walking into, and they'll know that they really want it. Glamorizing something and lying about it is a surefire way to turn someone against something. I'll have to apologize for the fucking plane overhead, but, so I'm not necessarily against this entire concept of, girls' leadership or whatever, although I don't like the gendered aspect to it. There isn't a problem here with that. It's just the fact that you propagandize. That's the problem. You don't fucking tell the truth of the matter. And then everything else that isn't, a fucking lie or a glamorization of reality, here is just the general leaflet that you'll get handed for this. And for the most part, we're not going to spend too much time on this, but one of the things that I wanted to point to, and most of this is just kind of nebulous, feel-good bullshit, but we speak up. I'll point to this one specifically. Speaking up takes courage, but it's a skill we can learn. Even if the result isn't what you hope for, be proud that you spoke your truth. Remember that you're the only one who knows what you need. Your words can change the world. So that's bullshit. And it's for two reasons. One, actions change the world. Words don't mean shit. It has to be the action that changes the world. But, that's me taking issue with semantics. The other aspect to it that's bullshit is the notion that just because you want to say something means that you have something to say. One of the biggest problems that I had in college was, and I would run into this from time to time, was you'd have a student who would chime in incessantly with nothing of substance to say. Nothing relevant to the topic at hand, and if it even was, nothing that added in any way to the conversation, which, granted, I'm sure that I did that every now and then because I'm an aggressive person and I like to put my fucking opinion out there, and I'm sure I did that too. But a good example of this that I can think of just off the cuff was this girl, and this was a class on international relations, and this was my senior year of college. This girl was a freshman, and so the class was for the most part pretty engaged, and that's something I definitely appreciated about that class, is that a lot of people had a lot to say, and for the most part what people were talking about was very relevant to the class, and it was thought-provoking. It was substantive, even if I disagree with them, and I can always appreciate that. I can always appreciate a substantive conversation, even if I disagree ultimately with the person that I'm speaking to. And a good example, actually, I won't get into the specifics of the conversations, but suffice to say that I see the world in the sense of basically the world being unipolar, the United States being the hegemon, although people can take issue with that the definition of the word compared to how I actually use it. But I see the world in the sense where we live in a unipolar world where the United States is the only superpower. Where we are the only superpower in the world, and that's the makeup of the world. And everything exists on that precondition of we are the only superpower in a unipolar world. And there are plenty of people in the class that agreed with some variation in terms of that perspective, and there was other people that disagreed completely. They had completely antithetical views that I ultimately disagree with. But I can appreciate the fact that they had substance to what they spoke to about why they believed what they believe. However, the problem is not the fact that I disagreed with people. The problem was that there was this girl in the class. I don't remember her name, but I will never forget the fact that her presence in the class was nothing but detrimental to the entire class. Because every fucking day that we would get into a good discussion, an engaged discussion that related to the material, she would completely go off topic. She would always bring it back to American politics, which is obviously, I think, and like I said, she's a freshman. She ultimately didn't know enough about what she was speaking to really hold a conversation, or at least hold an argument in terms of what she was trying to present to the class. And you could see that by the fact that it didn't relate to what was the topic at hand, what was in the material, what we had read before we came to class that day. But this girl would always bring up fucking just standard American politics, standard talking points, partisan fucking politics that had nothing to do with the world. This wasn't anything about the fucking EU and differing perspectives on, England, whether it's UKIP and wanting to break off from the EU or, anything even of that relevance in terms of party, right? She would just talk about party bickering and shit. Shit that didn't matter. Shit that had no relevance to what was being discussed. And, this went on day after day after day after day after day after day. I mean, this just went on for, I want to say, at least a month and a half, where every fucking time we would have a healthy goddamn dialogue, she would immediately start talking, immediately start bringing up irrelevant shit, and no one would say anything. So what it ultimately came down to, and this is not me bragging, this is ultimately as much a strength as it is a flaw about me. There came a day where I just finally lost my patience with this girl, and I said, listen, I understand that you want to, include your opinion on the matter, but can you at least keep it specific to the topic at hand? Can you keep it specific to the material? Can you make it fucking relevant to what all the rest of us are fucking talking about? Because you're introducing all this ridiculous shit that has no substance, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, is purely irrelevant. And I wasn't as strong as that, but it was about as strong, because I lost my fucking patience. I didn't want to hear this girl anymore. I didn't want to hear her fucking bullshit. I took college for the most part fairly seriously, especially towards the end when I knew that this was going to be my last hurrah in terms of academic free thinking and all that bullshit. This is all I had left. And here's this girl fucking just yammering on about bullshit. And no one would speak up. No one would fucking say anything to her. The professor didn't talk to her after class. Nothing fucking happened. So it was left to me. I'm the one that said something. I'm the one that told the girl to fucking shut up. And for the most part, for the rest of the semester, she didn't really speak up anymore. Which some people can say, was rude of me, was bullying of me, it wasn't nice, it wasn't appropriate, it wasn't whatever. But it had the intended effect. She fucking shut up. And the rest of us could actually carry on a decent goddamn conversation. That's something that less people need to do. Not necessarily girls. It doesn't have to be gender specific. Less people need to be like that. You need to know more and speak fucking less. And that's something that's true for me. This is a criticism that can be made against me, and I'm perfectly willing to accept it. However, there's a lot of people that need to be talked about that. They don't need to be talked about how they need to have more arrogance. They need to speak more. No. No more, speak less. But that's just the introduction to this shit, although I've already been talking for quite a while. The thing I want to get to is the fact that this organization sponsors and does a lot of PR shit. So they'll link up with a lot of corporations in that to speak to, you know, their ideology, their desire to see girls in leadership positions and all that bullshit. So one of the fucking people that they linked up with is Lean Cuisine. And I'm not sure how global this fucking company is, but if you aren't familiar with Lean Cuisine, they're basically like shitty food for lazy people that want to diet. Like I said, I don't know how much this gets around outside of America, but that's as far as I know them. They make really shitty food for you to microwave so that, you know, you can try to be less fat. But, you know, in my opinion, one of the biggest problems with this whole notion of dieting, and I am just as guilty in terms of this, is that doing the actual work, exercising, will mean infinitely more than dieting ever will. I've never found dieting to really be that you know, the X factor in losing weight or getting in shape. It's always exercise that will get you in shape. And if you want to talk about building confidence in girls, you know, get them on a fucking treadmill. You know, get them a weight set of some sort. Get them in shape. Because I can tell you this, a toned athletic body will mean a hell of a lot more than, you know, fucking pandering to their goddamn feelings or lying to them about leadership positions. That doesn't mean shit. Being confident in yourself and in your presentation, that means a lot. Some of you might be saying, you've been yammering on forever, stop beating around the bush, what are we talking about here? So we're talking about Lean Cuisine, this company. Again, remember, they produce products to cater to people trying to diet lazily. They're not doing the work, they're trying to take the easy way out to lose weight. Okay? They partnered up with Girls Leadership, this organization, and their whole campaign, okay, is censoring words that make you feel bad. That's the whole fucking campaign. That's the whole fucking campaign. And in part, one of the words that they want to censor for little girls specifically is the word diet. So if you're a girl and you're browsing the internet or whatever, they've developed different apps to where you can censor the word fucking diet. Now again, this is a company that is producing food specifically for dieting, trying to convince girls to censor their own fucking advertisements. I don't really even know what to say much more than that. Like, Lean Cuisine is a company that deserves to go out of business on their own merit for their own fucking stupidity. What kind of fucking campaign is this? Like, your own fucking advertisements are going to get caught up in this. How do you not see that? Unless you develop some sort of like loophole in these fucking apps, so that, you know, when these different advertisements and all that are censored, your advertisements aren't, or they come up instead. That would be brilliant, actually. Instead of diet, like, it comes up as Lean Cuisine, or instead of it playing like an advert for like dieting tips or whatever, or exercise or any shit like that, like it comes up by Lean Cuisine. That'd be fucking hilarious if they did that. That would be true to like the corporate sense of fucking manipulating media and that. But no, it actually just seems that it's all just an attempt to censor words based on the fact of how they make you feel. And, you know, like, Yahoo endorses this, the Wall Street Journal endorses this, some other fucking rag and a couple other like feminist blogs and that, they all endorse this. It's like, and it's sponsored by Girls Leadership and Lean Cuisine. It's just like, do I even need to show you any adverts to say why this is an issue? How crazy and totalitarian this is? Like, this is not going to make you feel better. This is not speaking to any of the real issues. This is just you in denial, trying to avoid the fact that you have issues with your confidence. You have issues with your body image. You don't like who you are physically. or emotionally, you actually have to address the fact that you aren't comfortable with yourself. It's you. It's not fucking adverts. It's not fucking ads. It's not the word diet. It's you.
This rambling commentary is not so much sponsored, but more or less affiliated with Play Asia. If you want to import their live Extreme 3, well, Play Asia will mail it through the Panama Canal, and eventually it will flow its way across the fucking Atlantic until you have access to this objectively misogynist content. However, Play Asia is a source of many pieces of media, including Western titles such as Tom Clancy's The Division. Check out Play Asia and buy something, you poverty-stricken fuck. Link in the description.
But that's enough of me yammering on. Let me I need to turn up the volume on my laptop here so we can listen to this advert for this fucking campaign.
The celery diet is simple.
Like a caveman.
Jiggle off those holiday
I lost
pounds.
15 pounds in 30 days with
New
diet.
year.
Diet.
In January, on average, there's a diet message on TV or the internet every 3 seconds. So this year, Lean Cuisine created the Weigh This Diet filter.
Cleanse your diet.
On TV, it mutes the word diet so you can focus on what really matters. And on Google Chrome, you filter out the word diet, while we put it to good use with a donation to Girls Leadership. Help change the conversation at leancuisine.com/dietfilter.
What is rattling around in your fucking brain if you don't find that chilling? Because I honestly do. That scares the fuck out of me. Install this device in your house, and it'll censor these things. It'll censor all of this. And they use the word censor. There's no equivocation. It says censorship in the campaign. That's the point of this campaign. It's a campaign of censorship. Jesus Christ. How is this not Orwellian? How is this not creepy as fuck? But yeah, it's like Lean Cuisine. Your advertisements are going to get caught in this. Unless you specifically don't use the word diet. Or if you have keywords that you know not to use because of this campaign. Or you manipulate the code where you're the only exception to the rule, where Lean Cuisine actually gets full playtime, and then it's everyone else that gets cut off. But that's a little bit too Machiavellian or clever for this corporation, it seems. Maybe we'll read one of the articles. And so what they're speaking to is that they have our 3D printed filter prototype, some kind of device that you attach to a TV. And then app for Chrome that will disable any mention of diet or any other word that you don't like. Oh man! And they have this counter. They have this fucking counter where it's like, this is how many times we censored the internet. This is how many times we censored your TV. And they play the happy music. They have these girls smiling, and it's just like, yeah, we're all denying reality together. It's like, you're the one with the issue. You're the one that's censoring everyone and everything around you. You're the person with the fucking issue. Your well-being. You aren't well in the fucking brain. All right? Christ. Is this not obvious? Am I wrong here? Someone say in the comment section, am I fucking wrong here? Am I wrong to not be this creeped out and this put off by it? Because this is so fucking creepy. So let's read this fucking article. I saw this article when I was reading through this earlier. Let's read this fucking article. And this is on the Chrome extension. It's by some rag called Refinery29, which I've never fucking heard of. And the article's written by Christina Bonington. So the article's called 7 Chrome Extensions for Censoring Your Most Hated Words. You're scrolling through Facebook, checking out friends' status updates and baby pictures, and then you see that word. The word that makes you seethe with rage and forget the entire reason you were online in the first place. You were triggered. That word. May be different for each of us, but we've each got one or more. Maybe I shouldn't criticize that. Maybe I have that word and I'm just not admitting to it. Thanks to the glory that is technology and Google Chrome, you'll never, ever have to see that word again. Maybe it's the word diet. Or maybe you just can't stand coming across Donald Trump.
China. You take China. I love them. China.
Or the Kardashians. I'm pretty sure that would be something most girls are going to want to come across because it's their own fucking search history. in your online antics. Whatever it may be, there's a Chrome extension that you can download to make it disappear from your life once and for all. If you hate opposing ideas to your own, just get this Chrome extension and then block them out forever. If you've never downloaded an extension before, it's easy. Just head to Chrome Web Store and blah, 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 blah. We don't even know how to fucking do it. So let's take a look at these fucking slides, I guess. I haven't even looked at this. Okay, so the number one on this is the hashtag weigh this diet filter. And this is the lean cuisine one. So we've already seen this one. And it's about censoring the word diet. Because censoring the word is going to make you less of a fucking tubby cunt. Is that a little bit too mean-spirited? Is that a little bit too bullying? The Kardashian filter. Some of us love Kim, Khloe, and Kylie and the rest of the Kardashian bunch, while the rest of us would rather they disappear from headlines. Well, like, why are you clicking on Kardashian articles in the first place? I don't read any Kardashian articles. I don't see them mentioned outside of articles like this. I have no relation to any fucking Kardashians in any way in terms of giving a shit. And I don't see that in any of the fucking outlets that I read. So how are you seeing these articles to censor in the first place? That's my question. Nickel block. So that was the second one. This is the third one. For those of us as a certain age, the mere mention of the band Nickelback can induce shudders and memories of parties we'd rather forget. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is an app specific to censoring Nickelback, or the mention of Nickelback. So let's be clear about something, all right? I fucking hate the band Nickelback. I think they are awful. I think that their music is cancerous. But again, like, Nickelback isn't playing on my radio. Okay, I have satellite radio in this vehicle, which I'm going to have to extend that soon, because apparently the trial's almost over. But go the fuck out of here, fucking mailman cunt. So, yeah, like, how are you seeing Nickelback everywhere? How are you, like, on YouTube browsing Nickelback videos and going, I can't believe there's fucking Nickelback here? How are you coming across Nickelback? You know, most of Canada doesn't fucking care about Nickelback. How are you coming across this much Nickelback? It's worthy of a fucking extension to block it on Google Chrome. This one is apparently called Millennials Be Gone. Boomers and all their general whining about millennials. Gen Xers and all their nostalgia and weird Nickelback phobia. What? Is that supposed to be like Nickelback philia? If you're sick of seeing your generation trash talk, download Millennials Be Gone. It replaces utterances of the word millennial with pesky whippersnappers, which is far more entertaining. Where would you be seeing this? You know, I am one of these fucking, generational warriors or whatever. One of these people that, likes to hate on baby boomers. Genuinely doesn't really like Gen Xers that much, because I think they're bizarrely conservative and for the most part lazy cunts. But the same can be said about the millennials and the fact that, we're narcissistic and crazy about censorship and all this shit. Like, there are plenty of things that you can generalize about when it comes to the individual generation just by going by poll data and the rest of it, and generally just due to experiences in that. But even again, like, why would anyone ever want this? And where would you be seeing these mentions? Like, this shit is for people that spend all fucking day on Facebook and reading BuzzFeed. That's the only places where you're gonna see this shit. Where else are you seeing these fucking things come up? Cloud to Butt Plus. If you're tired of hearing techie buzzword, if you're tired of hearing about techie buzzword, the techie buzzword, the cloud, fuck. You know, the magical place where all your online data is stored. You need this extension. Oh my God. Where would you be seeing this? Do you hate the word the cloud enough to where you would download an entire extension to censor this? This is so fucking stupid. There's so little substance to this. This is so fucking petty. The Trump web. The Donald is everywhere. Instead of reading about his latest antics and being filled with fury, be reminded of one of his most notable quotables. Oh, Jesus. The Trump web inserts an actual facepalm-worthy Trump quote. What? So you're telling me that this extension, in this list of censoring extensions, this extension gives you more fucking information on Trump. It gives you more quotes by Trump. You're replacing actual quotes by Trump or the name Donald Trump with more information on fucking Donald Trump.
China. I've been saying China. China.
What? Whatever. Whatever. Fuck. In my words. You can use this extension to automatically filter out any word or common typo that drives you nuts. Just type in the word or words you don't want to see, then next to each type the replacement. Viola, your internet experience is transformed. But even then, like, let's say that you replace the word president with peanut, okay? Every fucking time you read the word peanut, it like in the front of where it's likely going to be Barack Obama or whoever you're speaking to, whatever head of state it is, you're going to know that the word is actually president. You know, this doesn't even have it's like the effect of someone saying the N-word. Every time someone says the word N-word, everyone knows what that means. You mean nigger. That's what you mean. It doesn't matter that you say N-word. You still mean nigger. It doesn't matter. So why not just say the word nigga or nigger? Why not? If you're going to say the N-word, just say it. Why do you have to try to half-cock fucking censor it? It doesn't make any sense. Just because you think it's supposed to be polite. And in this sense, it makes even less sense. To where if you are directly replacing a word, you already know what it means. You already know what it's going to... When you see peanut, you know it means president. You know that. You know it because you took the fucking time to install this goddamn extension in your fucking browser. You know what it already means. So what's the point? Is it like the word itself is like glomming on to your fucking mental capacity and making you feral somehow? Is that it? Like, this is so ridiculous. But that's the end of this fuck awful article. I guess we'll go back to the website then. I'm not really sure what else I want to talk about with this. Actually, let me check Twitter. There might be another. Yeah, there's this GIF of like all the words they censored. Jesus fucking Christ. Deal with your fucking problems, people. Stop trying to deny that you have some kind of serious emotional issue if you find individual words so offensive that you need to download entire fucking extensions to your browser to either replace them or outright censor them. You fucking, block them out, whatever. Block out advertisements on TV. My question is, how old are you? And you're still watching fucking TV, bro? Like Hulu doesn't even have advertisements anymore if you get the fucking full version of it, which I have. I have the whatever is premium, where I don't have to watch any adverts at all. Get ad block. Where are you going to see any fucking advertisements at all? Where are you going to see adverts? When? How? So who is this for, anyways? It just by itself, it doesn't make any sense. But whatever. This is not an appropriate way to deal with your own issues. This is not something. And so this is the kind of thing do you want this taught to your fucking daughter? Do you want to have your daughter this reactive and have this little constitution or mental fortitude? Jesus Christ, this is so petty and so bizarre and so creepy. I saw this earlier, and this is what honestly provoked me to do this video, because I said, you know what? Why not just do it? Let's just do this video. And I saw this tweet sent out by Peter Payne at JList. He sent this out, and I saw this image. And I got the image in my mind for a second that, what would be the difference between, these ideologues, pushing totalitarian views on kids versus like an abusive father who, for instance, in this instance, would force his daughter to wear a specific kind of clothing, like to dress in like a Moe sense, to where the joke would be that the daughter doesn't want to wear these like overly cute outfits, and the father just like snaps back and is just like, I'm your father, and I bought you these clothes, and you're gonna wear the clothes that I give you. And so no one would tolerate that abusive father. No one would tolerate the father that is emotionally abusive about the fact that he wants his daughter to dress in this specific way. People would find that distasteful and bullying and abusive. But, again, you have these organizations that are pushing ideology onto kids. And, I consider that to be, just as much of a threat as an emotionally abusive father would be. Because, you're trying to force your kids into positions that no one really wants. No one really wants to be in these positions, with the exception of a minority, a very small minority of people. And even then, why those people want to be in those positions can greatly vary. I mean, you are going to have people that have a sense of duty, that they want the responsibility, that they want to do what they believe is right in terms of answering the call to do this thankless bureaucratic work, because they want the system to work correct, or the best that it can for the most amount of people. You are going to have altruistic people, and I have met them. They do exist. But for every person with a sense of duty, and I think I have that as well, you're also going to have people that are in the same way like me, where the other thing that's fueling your motivation to be in a position of power is that power. When I was in poli-sci, when that was my major, when I was in the student senate, that was a considerable motivator for most people in terms of being wanting to be involved in politics and being actually involved in the campus politics. It was power. It was being in a position that most people that would want it envy, and has some matter of status. That is a selfish desire. And, wanting to be in that position doesn't necessarily just justify the want. If you gave power to every person that wanted it, we live in a very fucked up world, because there's a lot of bad fucking people that want power, and there's a lot of incompetent people that want power. You have to take on the fact that by pushing this notion of what girls should want, you aren't necessarily going to get out of it what you want, or what you expect. Because again, not every girl is a fucking saint. Not every girl is an altruist. Not every girl is honorable or wants the position for the sake of doing their duty and doing and having responsibility for the sake of someone stepping into that role. You are going to have narcissists, dogmatists, demagogues, generally villainous people desire and achieve positions of power that shouldn't be in those positions, that no one wants in those positions. Just because most, lunatic fascists in the world, or most dictators that have ever existed aren't women, doesn't mean that, women aren't necessarily drawn to those positions for other different reasons. It isn't just men that have the desire for power for the sake of power. That isn't gender exclusive, although you hear that fucking line from Hillary Clinton every now and then. Oh, the world would work better if we had, and even Obama, the video I did with him, the King Tipper.
But I'm pretty sure that if we had more women in charge, things would work better. Maybe.
For talking about how the world would be better, just in general, if more women were leaders. Which is a completely ridiculous thing for the head of state himself to say. But it's like, no. There are evil women in the world. There are narcissists in the world. There are demagogues in the world and dogmatists in the world that are women. There are shitty people in the world that are women. There are murderers in the world that are women. There are pedophiles, as we all know, in the world that are women. Not every fucking woman is a saint. And neither was Mother Teresa, even though she just got sainthood. She wasn't no fucking saint. So there are bad women in this world. And these fucking ideologues got to recognize that. They got to fucking understand the thing that they're calling on, and the fact that rather than make this gender specific, they should make this about principle, about answering the call of duty for the right fucking reasons, not just answering the call, not just desiring power, desiring leadership positions. That isn't enough. What if the Third Reich? Would the Third Reich have been better if Hitler was a fucking woman? That he was a woman in power. Hitler was a woman in power that needed to be recognized. I mean, you guys are so fucking simplistic that you don't see the obvious thing that's in front of you. Desire for power, desire for a position of status is not inherently good just because a girl wants it. Fuck. I mean, this is ultimately one of the things that kills the left, is this focus on fucking gender politics. Like, if you have a fucking a fascist black woman, like, are we gonna fucking vote for her? Because, oh, well, she's black and she's a woman, so she's gay. She's a gay black fascist woman. Are we gonna vote for her because she's on the top of the progressive stack? Is that who we should vote for because of all these redundant fucking characteristics, other than the fact that she's a fascist? Is that the person we should vote for because of all those other meaningless characteristics? No! The focus is, what does this woman believe? What is it rattling around in this woman's mind? That's what's the most important thing. It is principle. It is the actual politic. It's what someone actually believes, what they're campaigning on, what they're actually trying to see achieved. It isn't their fucking gender. It's not race. It's not any of these fucking meaningless characteristics. So I'll end it on that.